Chicago migrants don't know where to go, they don't know where to stay. We're already seeing a lot of cases of migrants fighting at many of the migrant shelters of Chicago. Why is that? Well, the city is literally letting a bunch of migrants in with no plan about where to house them, how to feed them, and the healthcare situation. So I'm not really sure what in the world Chicago is doing. And we got more shocking news coming in because it's not just Chicago, but New York City is also facing a massive migrant crisis. It's the same thing over and over again. You let a bunch of people in, but you have no idea how to house all these people, which is leading to a lot of violence. And you know, when resources are low and migrants, they don't have that much money, they're going to start fighting. And we're already seeing a lot of complaints coming in from residents. A lot of people are saying, what in the world are a lot of these cities doing? I mean, check this out. Chicago's progressive mayor refuses to answer 3 times when asked if he'll raise the city's taxes to pay for the migrant crisis. Now, that could mean that he's not deciding to increase the taxes, but with it being Chicago, I'm really not that surprised because Chicago is actually the second city in the U.S. where there's the biggest amount of property tax increases. Just property tax wise, we're already seeing a 92% increase in the past decade. And we're also seeing the Chicago mayor implementing really crazy stamp duty fees and transfer real estate fees for the Chicago's residential and commercial real estate. But it's mostly for commercial real estate since 1 out of 7 buildings is residential. So commercial real estate makes the bulk of real estate transactions and transfers. And when you're placing a tax on that, not a lot of people are going to be going to Chicago to shop for real estate. And there's already very low amounts of people shopping for Chicago real estate. Putting that down to raise some money is going to make it even worse. So given Chicago right now is spending literally every single one of their pennies on the migrant situation, they are neglecting everything else, like the shoplifting stuff, the insanely high violence crime rate in Chicago. And it's just a mess of a city, right? Like the city just doesn't know what to do. And they have no idea and zero plans about it. And Mayor Johnson also calls on nearby cities to build migrant shelters. So they basically is putting this situation onto other cities and other areas. Right now it's just Chicago. They let a bunch of people in willingly because they want to be helping migrants, but they can't even help themselves. They can't even help these people because a lot of these people are just sleeping on the streets at this point. And Brandon Johnson's like, well, since we can't handle all these people because we weren't really that prepared, well, let's just get some of the other locations around Chicago to help us out, which none of them are happy to do so because essentially it's just pinning this problem onto the other small towns and cities. Let's see what happens. And there's also news about how migrants are breaking into buildings for shelter in Chicago after the city spent almost $200 million and the state spending over $700 million. And there's a lot of crimes being committed. Not because migrants are just committing crimes. It's because they don't have anything. Migrants, they are barely getting any food. They barely have anything on them. And they barely have any housing. If you put a human being in these really stringent, circumstances, what are you going to do? Okay, we're going to get the money. We're going to go to eat. We're going to go stay. It's freaking cold in Chicago right now. I mean, I'll probably be doing the same thing. I don't blame these people. Now, many people are saying that the true blame really goes for the city because they allow all these people in when they're not prepared to take them in. I mean, look at this video. People just go into the building and this is what's going on. This is literally a building that's boarded up. It's kind of sad to see this kind of stuff. And a group of newly arrived migrants allegedly become behind a string of burglaries plaguing Chicago suburbs. When resources are thin and when the city allows 10, 20,000 people in, this is what you get, okay? Especially with the Chicago police and all personnel of Chicago already stretched so thin with the domestic crime at home. They don't have time for this. And they're just adding on more and more strain into the situation. I mean, you just see a bunch of videos like these. I have no words right now. And a lot of residents of Chicago aren't exactly happy. In my personal opinion, if you're going to be letting a bunch of these migrants in, you're going to have to prepare it beforehand because this is a lot of people, a lot of resources, and millions of dollars will be spent on this. And so far, New York City already has a lot of parks which used to be have been tourist destinations and parks for locals, are now being turned to just massive tent camps. I don't know. Maybe Chicago needs like a pretty big renovation itself to save from this doom loop. But so far, Chicago, a lot of companies are moving, a lot of people are moving out, and people are not happy about this. Thanks for watching, guys. Comment below and see you later.